self-serving, persuasive talkers
of everything and nothing.
We are Conversation Con Artists. What's going on, people? It's your boy, Mr. On Point.
And I am Calamity Red.
And we are Conversation Con Artists, back for another wonderful episode. I'm going to need you to come and find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. Mister_on_point.
And I could be found at red_calamity. If you've been tweeting me and I haven't been responding, it's because I haven't been logging in. But I'm going to get better.
You've been saying that shit for 2 years.
I was okay, and then I fell off. I don't get on Twitter. That's not my jam. I am on Instagram a lot, so same thing. Red. Is it red_calamity? Yes.
Damn.
Red_calamity on Instagram as well. You probably be better sliding in my DMs on Instagram than you would be on Twitter, to be honest.
I might start getting that Twitter now since they got them 280 characters.
It wasn't the amount of things to say. I just don't log in there.
It was for me.
Like, it wasn't
how concise you have to be to say shit.
Yeah.
That's been an issue for me.
I mean, somebody came in my DMs on Instagram. I got something long. I don't know. I hadn't read it. I gotta read it. It wasn't a question. It wasn't somebody. It was
a dude trying to holler.
Yeah, from Tinder. So I think I attached my Instagram to my Tinder, and he saw it, and then he DM'd me on there because I didn't swipe. I'm assuming I did, because he could have just sent me a message on Tinder. Anyhow, I ain't read it because it was like it started off wrong, and I was like, oh, what the fuck ever. So anyhow. We're still doing the listener letter portion of the show. So if you have a question you would like for us to answer on the show, you can send it to our Gmail account, which is conversationconartists@gmail.com, or you can send it into our Facebook page, Conversation Con Artists. So one of the questions that we have today is, what is the most awkward interview or the worst job interview you've ever been on?
I don't think I've had any bad job interviews or awkward or weird. I had my interview at McDonald's. I had my interview at Milliken. I worked at this towel boxing company from my hometown. There wasn't no interview because we just did temp agency. I just went into the temp place. They said, go here. I went there, and then they said, y'all do this. And then we did that. So it wasn't that process.
I won't say it was just weird. So when I was at the end of my master's program, you have to do an internship. And so I had to interview for the intern positions. And one of the therapist offices that I interviewed at, I got there to the interview and they had me sit in this room and they were like, oh, she'll be with you. And so I'm sitting there and this guy comes in who is a current intern. And so he starts talking to me, and I'm thinking he's talking to me to kill time until she's available because she had something she was handling. So I'm just talking, and at a certain point, I was like, "So when is she gonna come in to do the interview?" And he was like, "Oh, this is the interview. She had me come in to talk to you." Well, motherfucker, when was you gonna tell me this? Like, I'm glad I ain't said nothing crazy because I know you were just fucking another intern here. Like, and it wasn't really an interview. I guess because she wanted me to come back. But after that, I was like, I don't even know that I want to work in this office. Like, y'all are unprofessional as fuck. Like, it was just weird. And he wasn't even asking me interview type questions, which again, why I didn't know that this was supposed to be the interview, because he was just asking me about like going to AUM and about like how it was, and he's an intern, so I'm thinking he's just asking this because he comparing it to how it is at wherever the fuck he's going to school at. So
was he black or white?
Black.
Oh, what color was the lady you thought was gonna interview you?
Black.
Oh, all of them was black.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
It was a black, which I was like, oh, okay,
This was at AUM.
It wasn't at AUM. It was at a therapist's office in Montgomery.
Oh.
Because I had to go to like the sites and interview. I had to interview at Family Guidance, which is where I ended up getting my internship at. But that was a weird interview. And then the first time I ever did a group interview was when I applied to work at Toys R Us during the holiday season, which I would never fucking do that again. Like, y'all don't know me, so y'all may not know that I'm not the best with like little kids. Teenagers I can do all day. Little kids, I don't know what the fuck to do with them, and like they're weird to me. And so I don't know why. I think I was just looking for something to do like during the holiday season, and I knew Toys R Us was hiring, so I would never do that shit again. But so because they hiring during the holidays, I figured, okay, you know, they might ask me like a couple of questions or whatever, but it wasn't gonna be, because it was seasonal. So then I get in there and it's this like dramatic ass group interview where they wanted you to like try to sell a toy, and I I don't know nothing about none of these motherfucking toys. Keep this in mind, because one, I don't have no kids. Two, I ain't around kids. And so therefore I don't know the latest and the hottest toys because I don't have a reason to know these things. So like, I'm really thinking that I'm just going to go and like be a cashier and that's it. And that they weren't going to like get all in depth the way that they did. So that was just bad, I guess, because I was unprepared for what it was going to be. And I'm not the most enthusiastic person, so I don't think I did a good job selling the toy. I still got the job, but like, I was so like taken aback by the fact that he wanted me to sell this toy that I had never seen before. And it was some stupid ass toy. I don't even remember what it was, but it was something that it was like, who want to play with this? Like, well, Toys R Us was fucking terrible. Kids come in there messing shit up, the parents just letting them and shit. It was awful. And I just wanted to be like, you don't see your fucking kid sitting here taking all this shit, throwing it in the floor, ma'am? You don't see little Timmy doing this shit? Now I'm going to have to pick all of this shit up, and I'm going to be here later because we had to clean the store up before we left. So, like, all of this shit, they fucked up. We had to clean before we could leave. And when I close, I'm trying to fucking go home. I don't want to clean up after little Timmy. Keep his little hands to himself.
I did have an interview that was just too much. Interviewing for a bank. They had you do like math tests. Regions. I remember. I think it was when I was living in Montgomery, so it was around 2006, 2007.
Wow. Well, you got to be able to add, subtract, multiply, divide money. They don't want you giving too much money away.
I mean, don't bring me all the way downtown to give me no fucking basic math test. Put math on the damn application or something.
You could get somebody else to do the math.
Or do math during orientation.
Well, but what if you get the orientation and you can't math? Then what?
Then they should have some better fucking ways of figuring out if a person can add and subtract.
Yeah. Over
getting there and making you take a bunch of tests and shit that you don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't like
adding
that.
and subtracting right out here. Now, if they would have threw some fractions on that bitch, I would have been through. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, math is not most social service people. I think they part of why they do it is because they're not good at math. So some of these other majors, you ain't gonna be able to do this shit. I wanted to be an engineer because I was like, I can make good money. I'll have, good options for jobs, but I can't do math. Like outside of like basic math, like the advanced math that you would have to do to be an engineer, it wasn't gonna happen. Not a math person at all. So we have another question.
What were your life plans by this point? Like, what did you, when you were little or in your teenage years, what did you expect to be happening around?
By 33.
Around 33, yeah.
Well, I thought I was going to have 2 kids. I have 2 dogs instead.
A boy and a girl, boy and a boy, did it make a difference?
It didn't make a difference. I wanted to be somebody's mom. And I figured, like I had always said, the kids I ain't had by 30, I ain't having no kids. Well, 30 came and went, so I done had to push that shit back now. And it was 35, but now that I'm 33, I'm like, shit, that ain't nothing but 2 years, and I ain't even dating nobody, so I'm gonna have to push that back a little bit more. I don't want to be an old mom, though. I don't want to. I ain't gonna have the patience for this shit. I already don't have the patience, but it's gonna be worse as time goes on. But I thought I was gonna have 2 kids. I thought I was gonna have started working with the FBI because I've always, I watch ID Channel. We joke about that, but I seriously watch it all the time. And I actually wanted to be a criminal profiler. That was like my first choice career. And so, by 33, I thought I would be solving crimes and observing human behavior and, interviewing serial killers and that type of thing. I wasn't gonna be living in Alabama because I fucked this state. So I thought that I would have gotten out by now, or even out of the country. Like I've always wanted to raise my kids not in America, like maybe Canada, where I won't have to pay for health care. But yeah, just I think I would have been a lot more settled, or I expected to be a lot more settled, like married, kids, that type of thing. That was what I envisioned. But when you're a teenager, 30 seem old as fuck. And now that I'm 33, I'm like, I ain't even that damn old. This isn't that old.
This is a good age.
But as a teenager, like my teenage clients, when they ask me how old I am, and I tell them, they're always like, I didn't know you were that old. And it's like, pump your brakes. I'm not. Like, you know, at 15, this probably seems old as fuck to you. But when you get to be this age, no, not so much. But it's not that old. But like in my teenage mind, it was. And so I wanted to be extraordinarily settled by this age. And I'm not. So, and I mean, I'm not upset about it. Again, I don't want to be an old mom, so I don't want to be a first time mom at like 40. That's not in my plans. I don't want to do that. But I just think I thought I would be a lot more settled than I am. Have a house instead of an apartment still, that type of thing. So,
I really haven't had a template for what I wanted to happen and when. I've just always been a go with the flow type of person, for better or for worse.
I think you get more of an opportunity to do that because you're a dude.
What that mean?
So
opportunity, like it's a good thing.
I'm saying it is a good thing that you get an opportunity to just go with the flow if that's what the fuck you want to do without people questioning you about it. I think that women get questioned a whole lot more as they age and aren't married and don't have kids than dudes do.
I mean, I get questioned.
I don't think that it's like...
I'm sure it's not as nearly as much as you do.
No. Every fucking Thanksgiving, yo. Like, it's this whole conversation. It's me and my cousin's a year older than me. So both of us are not married. Both of us don't have any kids. Both of us are still single. And it's the topic of conversation every fucking year. Now, I have male cousins that come who are also not married, that's just out here living life, and don't nobody fucking question them. It's not the same. It's not viewed as the same because like I'm apparently approaching old maid status out here as far as like people are concerned. So I think, and I tell dudes this all the time, like my male friends that date women and they're like, why they in such a hurry to get married and have kids? It may not even be that they're in a hurry. It may be they want to get these people off their fucking back because it is a lot more pressure on a woman, I feel like, than a dude. Like, you'll just be a bachelor. Oh, that on point, just out here fucking hoes and living life. Like, but it'll be like, oh, Red just never got married and she just never had a kid. Like, it'll be a sad thing. Like, we could both stay single for the rest of our lives. Mine would be a sad story. Yours would be like, he's just out here balling. Not loving these hoes.
For better or for worse, that dialogue ain't really a great dialogue.
It's not.
I mean, for a man, it's horrible.
It's not, but like I said, I feel like you don't have the same pressures. Like, and I don't give a fuck. Like, it annoys me that I have to have this same conversation every fucking year. It's irritating as fuck. But obviously, I'm not gonna run out here and go get married and have a kid just to shut the people up in my life. Because at this point, I feel like if I like accidentally get pregnant, it's sad because I went all of this time, the 20s is when you're supposed to be fucking up. I feel like me having a baby randomly in my 30s is just like, the fuck was you doing? Like, you knew better than this. I would be so disappointed in myself if I just got pregnant randomly when I've avoided it all of this time. Like, what the fuck? So, it doesn't bother me. It bothers my cousin a lot. I'll tell you that. Like, she is very bothered and stayed in a fucked up relationship for the longest time because all of and she's the only child, so like her dad is really just like, I need a grandchild, because if you don't give me a grandchild, I'll never have a grandchild. I want a grandchild before I'm too old to play with my grandchild. And so You know, he pressures her a lot. And so it impacts her a lot. My mama got 50 grandkids because my brother's out here fucking and just making babies. And so I don't have the same pressure. Now, I do think my mom would like for me to have a kid because my kid would be a kid she would get to see. My oldest brother's kids are in Japan because his wife divorced him and took them niggas to Japan. And then my other brother is fucking crazy and his kid's bad as fuck. So we don't really, you know, be fucking with them like that. So, you know, I think she would like for me to have a kid because it would be a grandchild she would actually be able to interact with. But it ain't like how it is with my cousin. I don't have the same pressure as she has. And it impacts her a lot more than it impacts me. And, you know, she gets really sad and shit about it. And like all her friends have gotten married and had babies. And so she's like godmother to a lot of kids. And she does a lot of stuff with the kids. And it makes her kind of sad. So I just think it's different for women. We have a lot more pressure to do that shit. Y'all just be bachelors and shit, and it's fine.
Well, I mean, the going with the flow situation it's also the reason why I just now got into my career at 30. You know, because like going 25 years old, 26, I ain't even know what I was finna do.
Yeah.
At that moment. So, I mean, it hadn't been all gravy in that sense. Kids, I just never really... It took me until I got into one of my counseling programs in graduate school to realize that kids could be an intentional choice that you make with somebody that you really value and want to have a child with. Because my environment just said that at some point condom gonna break and your ass gonna have a baby. You know, it was just something that happened, a consequence of sex, not really a desired choice and decision to make.
Yeah.
So, you know, even now I still don't even know if I want kids or not. I'll be all right with them. I'll be all right without them kind of situation right now.
I want to have a kid just because I feel like I have a lot that I could offer a kid, but I'm also fearful because like I don't do kids. Like, and everybody keeps saying, oh, it'll be different when it's your kid. But like my fear is that it won't be different when it's my kid. And I'll still be like, I don't know what the fuck to do with this little person. Because that's what I feel like when I'm around kids. Now, teenagers, I'm cool. Yeah, you know, they got autonomy. Their thought processes are a lot closer to mine. You know, they're still irrational, but, you know, it's a lot closer to mine. And so I'm a lot more comfortable with teenagers. But like little kids, like kindergartners and shit, I try to avoid them little niggas. They just get in the way and break shit. Like, and so I go back and forth with, like, I want a kid, but it's like, do I want a kid? Like, do I want something vomiting on me and pooping and shit? Like, do I want that? I just don't know. The dogs have helped. We get more comfortable with poop, I guess. Because I've had to clean up quite a bit of poop and vomit, actually. So I guess maybe it'll be easier cleaning up the vomit of a human instead of a person. A dog. I don't know.
No idea.
I don't know. I'm hoping that that's gonna help. I still like it. It really practices my gag reflex. Like anytime they've had like an accident, it's such a like I have to like mentally prepare myself to like clean it up and not vomit myself because it's disgusting and it smells awful. And babies like will shit in their diaper and like it'll explode and get everywhere. And I just, you know, I don't know. I don't know. You know, I maintain that I want a kid. Like I used to say 2, but I got to see how the first one go. I might have that first one and be like, oh, fuck this. Like,
what you gonna need to see with a kid to know whether you want a second one or not?
How I am as a mom, how I am like dealing with the irrationality of a 3-year-old, or like motherfuckers drawing on my walls and shit, or just doing kid shit.
It took you 3 years to get there. How long you gonna wait? You finna be 40 having a second one?
Shit.
You got a small window to decide.
God damn it.
Based on very little evidence.
That's true. Ugh. Well, I mean, obviously, I will at least have a year. I'm not gonna have a kid back to back. Like some of these people get pregnant so fucking. I'm not gonna do that. So at least 2 years. 2 years in between them. And so the 2 years, terrible twos, I will get an opportunity to see how I am as a mom. Because, like, look, I yell at my dogs, like, a lot. But I do that in the comfort of, they don't know what the fuck I'm saying. They have no idea that I was yelling at them, like, bitch, like, what the fuck are you doing? They have no idea what those words are, and they're not going to be able to repeat them because they'll never get language. Kids eventually will, and the last thing I need is my kid going to kindergarten and being like, bitch, what the fuck is you doing with my blocks? I don't need that call.
You've already said on the podcast that you weren't going to use profanity when your kids
yes.
Here. So that ain't something you're going to have to worry about.
Well, theoretically.
Theoretically, you ain't going to have to worry about it, or theoretically, you ain't going to cuss?
Theoretically, I'm not going to cuss.
So
like, my goal is...
already
like,
backtracking.
I'm not backtracking, but I'm realistic enough to know that I am not a perfect person. So... my goal is to not curse around my children. My goal is that once my kid gets here, that I cease the cursing, which is, you know, it's a big part of my vocabulary, so that is going to be very difficult. And like I said, cuss at the dogs all the time. All the time. Because I know they don't have language, and so they respond more to, like, tone of your voice and that kind of shit, but they don't know what you're saying for real. Like, even sit, they don't know, you know, they equate that sound with what I've told them to do before, but, like, you don't know what sit mean for real. So with a dog I could do that, but, like, with a kid who's learning and will pick up shit from me, you know, it's a big responsibility.
That's what it is.
It's a huge responsibility.
You're raising a human from fucking scratch.
I know.
What do you? I mean, they're coming.
I don't know
with the
if I need to be responsible. I don't know.
I don't. You know, thinking about kids is like they shake up your whole. Like, I just want to come home with no fucking responsibilities, kick my damn shoes off, and do what the fuck I want to do.
Play video games. Can't do that.
Can't do that with kids.
No.
Not, you know,
I gotta make sure you do
without kids.
No, I gotta make sure you're doing your fucking homework depending on how old you are. I gotta feed you and shit.
I ain't even talking about them older stages. I'm talking about the stages where a little motherfucker can't even hold his neck up, so I can't even play the game and hold my baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure they got some kind of concoction.
They got the little carrier thing. You stick their little ass in there and play video game while they sleep.
I don't trust it.
What do you mean you don't trust it?
I don't trust it.
Millions of people. All you do is just sit them in there. They up against your chest. They'll go to sleep.
But I got narcolepsy. What if I fall asleep?
They gonna wake you up. Even with narcolepsy, they start hollering. That is gonna wake you up.
I'm gonna fall asleep and the little nigga face gonna plant in my chest and they ain't gonna be able to breathe. I'm gonna wake up with a dead baby strapped to me and I ain't never gonna be able to get that image out of my head. I'm gonna have to go to counseling for the next 10 fucking years. My wife gonna divorce me and leave the fuck out of me. Now I ain't got no relationship. Now I ain't got no fucking baby. Motherfuckers calling me a baby killer on Facebook and shit.
Why do you go to the most extreme possibility ever? You are not going. First of all, you act like your narcolepsy is like the kind where you just like snap right out. You start getting sleepy, so you know when you start getting sleepy to put the fucking game down and take the baby off your chest. Don't just keep playing.
Listen,
with the
as long as you prepare for the bullshit, then you got contingency plans. I go down the negative ways because I go to the positive ways too, but the negative ways are the ones you got to be ready for. You ain't got to be ready for the regular good shit. You got to be ready for the anomalies.
You're not gonna fall asleep on your kid.
I know I'm not gonna fall asleep on my kid. I'm just saying, even with my kid, like not me being on the kid, it's some ways that shit can go bad. And I'm just saying, when you have the idea of what can go bad in your head, even if it's the extremes,
face the little nigga outward.
You prepare shit.
Put him so he can see the game. And watch the colors.
It depends on what I'm watching.
They don't know.
He don't know, but
they don't know.
A baby really can't see colors and really like classify shit to a certain point.
Exactly.
How do I know letting my kid watch this high frame per second ass shit? I'm not conditioning they fucking eyes for seizures, epileptic seizures when they get damn 7.
I don't think that's how that works.
It could be doing something. Maybe they're not gonna be able to focus on shit because so much shit going on the screen while they little eyes trying to figure out how little snails move and shit.
Them babies. Look, I feel like babies just. I don't even know like what thoughts because they don't know what anything is and they can't really see shit. I feel like they just be like, food time. I need man, I need food. Like, I don't think they give it.
No, I think when babies are babies, I think their bodies are automatically doing shit that they are not aware of with their conscious thought. Like, their cells are allocating in their eyes the way they're supposed to. Their vocal cords is starting to form, and how they cry. Their muscles is starting to form. Like, their bodies is naturally doing shit. And you can do shit as a parent that can hinder any of that shit from developing the way that it's supposed to.
I don't think you playing a video game is one of the things
that
will hinder it.
I don't know.
Look,
then it depends on how loud it is.
No, listen. So, y'all comment and let us know, because I'm sure there are plenty of dads listening to this shit who play all types of video games while they had their baby in one of them little fucking carriers. Because listen, it's so many memes and shit about like why you don't leave kids with their daddy, because daddy they just do all kind of bullshit, drawing on the kid face and shit. Like, it's all kind of dads that they did all kind of bullshit to their kids, and the kids turned out fine. So y'all comment down below and let us know.
So I'm 33 years old, and I play the game with guys that are my age. So most of them got kids. And I came into the party on Xbox, and I was like talking, and this dude got a kid named Connor, and he was like, Connor, stop. Connor, stop. We were playing the game. Like, we were playing a game that you can't really stop playing. It's NBA 2K. Like, we're actively running up and down the court for like 25 to 30 minutes. Like, if you can easily lose if your character stop moving at any point in the game. So I get into the game, and I didn't know that they, had not been. I didn't know that this been going on. But he was like, "Man, y'all, I'm finna get cussed out by my wife." And then another dude in the group said, "You let him fall down the stairs again?"
See what I'm talking about?
I was like, again? I just got here. That shit already happened? Your wife supposed to be beating your ass right now. Your kid was going to be a rocket scientist, just like Red. Now look at you.
I'm telling you, dads do all kind of fucked up shit. So, like, you'll be fine. Whatever you do probably been done by a dad somewhere, especially when it comes to video games, because you see the memes and the videos.
But some of the shit dads did to their kids, they only did it once, because that's the only amount of time they had.
But anything with video games, I don't think that's the case, because it's too many dads that play video games. And when the kid is a baby, you cannot do anything with a newborn to like a shit. Almost one. Them niggas, you can't play with them.
I'm gonna have a house leash.
Oh God.
Not like a public leash.
But you don't know what? No leash. Why not? Because you're
it's not a leash, it's a restraint.
It is a leash.
No,
that
it's
is
not.
Exactly what it is. Yes, it is. You're gonna put a dog leash on your kid.
No, I'm not.
With a harness. Yes, it's the same shit I have on Remy when I walk that little nigga. You gonna have a harness and a leash.
That's better than a playpen with a little baby with a damn screwdriver in their diaper, like fucking Tommy Pickles. They supposed to die so many times.
Yep, they did. They were getting into a lot of shit. Baby, babies just lay there. They cry, they poop, they vomit. They cry, they poop, they vomit, they sleep. That's it. You can't play with them.
And they can drown in their vomit if you ain't paying attention.
Well, you're supposed to pay attention. That's why they make baby monitors and shit, so you can spy on your kid at all times to make sure that they're not dying.
When you're aware of the worst case scenarios,
you as a therapist have known some of the worst case scenarios just from your clients. So I mean,
worst case scenarios of normal shit, right? Like the worst case scenario playing a video game, not the worst case scenario of making your kid get in the shower when you beat their ass while they wet. Like, that's bad. Like, I'm talking about the worst case scenarios of shit I would do. Like, I ain't gonna beat my kid. So the worst case scenario of shit I would be doing would be cooking. I'm in the kitchen, so I gotta think of worst case scenario, everything kitchen related.
Bring little John. Don't put him in the little carrier and have grease popping on him. Like, just lay him down when you cooking. Cook when he's napping. I'm
just gonna be a point where he gonna be around the motherfucking kitchen while I'm cooking.
No.
So I'm saying
I'm gating everything in my house. You only gonna be where I let you be.
All I'm saying is, well, at the age when I want him to help me, then. Like, I still need contingency plans.
You don't need you cannot make a contingency plan for every possibility, because kids are unpredictable as fuck. And shit that you don't think that they could do, or you like, how the fuck did you even manage to do this shit? They will do.
Well, let me tell you something that I never, ever, ever think about, that I know I gotta think about with kids. I never think about what direction my handles are pointed in. I don't. I've never ever knocked the pan down on my own because of where the handle was. And I know
I do. I move that shit up.
I know I don't turn my handle. Like
I do.
I make my handles convenient to me picking it up, grabbing it, and putting it back down on the stove. That's what I do.
My shit is always turned on where I'm not gonna hit it because I know my clumsy. If it can be done, I will do it.
So all I'm saying is like a whole new thought process gotta come with kids.
But I feel like that's just come automatically because you don't want to be the parent that child died, and so you hyper aware of everything. I feel like
not everything.
Shit, when Remy was a puppy, I thought about all the shit he could eat and choke on, or I had to take him to the hospital, to the vet for a bill. And so because of that, like the shit that I left in my floor or things that I would normally do, like I would finish eating something like a bag of chips maybe and I don't feel like getting up, so I just lay it down. I don't do that shit because I know this little nigga won't get into everything.
You don't do this shit no more?
No.
Cause you done got some shoes towed the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, the shoes. So I was thinking about all the things I had to do when I had Kingston, right? Shoes were not something I had to worry about with Kingston, so that was a new thing. The shoes, I was like, I ain't gonna fuck with these shoes. Shit.
That's what I'm saying. See, you put on that little carpal tunnel vision.
I did.
And because of that, your shoes got fucked. What I'm saying is keep the motherfucking options open for the possibilities.
It's too many possibilities. That's overwhelming to me. I can't do that.
That's how my brain works. My brain fuck with possibilities.
That's too overwhelming. There's too many possibilities.
We go down the rabbit holes of all the possibilities, and
it's too many possibilities with kids. Like they can kid, oh my God. I think of the shit I got into as a kid and the way my thought process was as a kid and some of the shit I chose to do that thinking back on it, I'm like, why the fuck did I even think that was a good idea?
Like all the shit with your brother?
All the stuff with my brother. Like literally everything I ever did with him was horrible and terrible and seemed like a good idea at the time. So like all of that shit.
I think good idea meant bad idea in your world. If you're saying it was a good idea at the time.
At the time. It was a horrible idea, but that's what I'm saying. For kids, they do shit that you're not going to think about because you're an adult. And so even you're not going to be able to think of all the possibilities because your kid going to do some shit that you just going to be like, nigga, why would you do that?
I want to account for all of the shit that I should think about that I don't think about because I don't have a kid. For example, them handles. Like that's something I should think about when I have a kid. But I don't think about having.
But when you have a kid, I feel like those kind of things are automatic. I think you start being a lot more careful because you have a kid. The same way that like Keisha used to be able to ride in the front seat of my car. And sometimes so like when I would be driving and I would stop, I automatically start putting the arm out that parents put out to keep their kid back. And I still do that shit now. That was an automatic fucking thing that I didn't think about consciously doing. Like, and now I'll be driving and I do that with people sometimes because it's such an automatic thing that I'll put my arm out randomly. But it wasn't something I thought about. It was just something I started doing because now I got something that I'm responsible for that I don't want to go flying through the window. So like it was an automatic thing. I think a lot of that stuff is subconscious. You know you have a life that you're responsible for. So you start being a lot more careful because you know kids are curious about every fucking thing. And so a kid that's tall enough to reach it up and grab a fucking pot handle, they probably will. Because they don't equate it's hot, it's cooking on the stove. I don't need to do that. I want to see what's in the pot. Bam. Then they covered in fucking grease and shit, hot grease. So I feel like a lot of that stuff is automatic. I feel like you start being more responsible because you have to be. Right now, you don't have to be. You don't have to think about those things. But that don't mean you won't think about them when you do have to.
Well, I don't think I ever want to. That's why I don't give a fuck if I have kids or not. I don't ever want to think about that shit. I want to just keep my handles where the fuck they at. The other day, what happened? Like, we were playing music, and I don't know how many days that we've had to play music for some heavy shit to dance its way over to the edge of the top of the refrigerator. And I just heard that fall off one day. Like, shit like that. If my kid down up under that motherfucker and a big ass thing of whatever fall on the nigga head from out the refrigerator, then that'll be messed up.
I don't know. I think dogs are not kids, but I have had to be responsible for them, and I've had to like keep in mind that, especially Remy, will put any fucking thing that he can get to in his mouth. And so again, the way that I keep my house, the way that I like have things out has changed because of him. Because I know he will eat shit.
The difference between a dog doing that and a kid doing that is jail time.
It is, but see, you say that as somebody who's not really like a huge pet person. I actually love my animals, and so when they get sick, I feel bad and shit, and I feel like a bad pet owner because I'm like, I should have knew that nigga was gonna eat that bullshit because he eat every fucking thing. So like, because of them, I've had to adjust my life already for dogs. So it would just be a different adjustment for kids. You haven't really had to make adjustments. Like you had a dog briefly, but like, so you get to do what you want to do now. I would be going from making adjustments for dogs to making adjustments for kids, but making adjustments regardless because I had to buy a motherfucking baby gate to keep Remy out the kitchen because that nigga tall enough to counter surf, and he does. So I have my kitchen is gated off now where the nigga can't come in there because if you ain't watching him, I'll be watching TV. And I hit a nigga on the stove. Like he tall enough to get in the shit. So had the baby gate that I had all my doors in my apartment are closed to rooms where I'm not in them because he go in there getting in the shit. So my bedroom, all of the doors are closed, bathroom closed till I go in there. Because if I leave the door open and I don't see him, he in there fucking with some shit. So like I've already had to make adjustments for having dogs. And especially for having a dog tall enough to like reach shit. Kingston little, so like all you have to do is put shit like on the table, and that's good enough.
But dogs are dogs, and kids are kids.
What my point is that I've already made changes in my lifestyle. You haven't had to do that, so it's gonna be more for me. It's a little bit easier because I'm just making more changes. But I already had to make changes. Like I already live my life differently. Shit, if I get off work, I can't just get off work and like go and meet somebody for a drink. I have to be like, I'm gonna meet you, give me about an hour because I gotta go by the house first and walk the dogs because they've been there all day and I gotta walk them before I can go do anything else. I already have to make adjustments for having them. So my point is that it'll be an easier transition for me, I feel like, because I'm already having to do that shit, like watch where I put things and my shoe, I got shoes that have been laying out that he ain't touched, so I think he done got enough whoopings about my shoes that he fucking stopped doing that. But I done made adjustments, so for me it's gonna be an easier transition. My issue with kids is not gonna be adjusting my house and like how I do things. It's just dealing with like the annoyances of kids. Like babies are cute until they smell like shit and you got to clean it, or until they had a colic and they won't sleep and you got to go to work in the morning. This little nigga up crying at 3:00 in the morning because he got the colic. Like those are the things that I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't know if I'm prepared to deal with that. Those are the things. Making adjustments in my house, I'm not really worried about that. But like losing sleep and cleaning up like horrific shit, like that's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to do that. I've never changed a diaper in my life. And I have plenty of nieces and nephews, but I feel like it ain't my responsibility to change this shitty diaper. This your kid. Here you go. He stink. And I get a kid back. So I've never changed a diaper ever. My mom didn't make. I was like 5 when William was born, so I didn't even have to help with him and shit. So I've literally never changed a baby diaper. I don't know nothing about wipes and putting powder on their ass or none of that shit. So.
I definitely don't. I ain't touching nobody else's babies.
I just get a kid back. Like if they smell or start smelling like pee or something, you need to take care of this. Ain't my kid, ain't my shit to deal with. That's how I feel. Mm-hmm. Same way that people don't want to pick up my dog shit. It's my dog, I have to pick it up. Well, I mean, you picked up shit before because Remy shit in here when you had him.
Yep. He shitted in a lot of different places. That's why his ass is banned.
He doesn't do it anymore.
Travel ban on his ass.
He doesn't do it anymore.
I don't care.
He's good now.
I got too much shit here. He can't come.
Oh, yeah. That what I'm saying? This and him, he tap all of this shit. He been there pull the TV down because he be pulling on the wires, some shit, or he'll knock it down accidentally. Like, this would be terrible. like for him. Like, it would be fucking horrible. Yeah, he would tear this shit up. There's too many electronic things in here.
He'll get his ass knocked out.
And too many things. He tall, like.
I'll put a piece of cheese on the floor with a sleeping pill in it.
He actually gets really mean when he is on, like, so he had a bacterial thing, not bacterial, some kind of allergic reaction, and I was giving him Benadryl. You know, Benadryl make them drowsy. That little nigga was mean as fuck when he was, I think 'cause he didn't understand why he was sleepy. And he just, that nigga was snapping and he was mean as fuck. So that might not be the route you want to go in. He's not very nice when he's sleepy, or when it's like drug-induced sleepy.
If he want to seal his fate, he can rise up against me if he want to.
Yeah, you don't need to keep Remy. I'll just take him to the
Glad
kennel.
you have come to this decision.
That's what I did when I went to Tennessee. Yeah, he'd be kenneled, and so yeah. Kingston, on the other hand, don't mess with nothing. Kingston just needs somewhere to lay down and sleep. That's literally all he needs. Cause that's what he do with most of his life now is nap. He take lots of naps. But so that is our questions for the week. If you have a question you would like for us to answer on the show, you can send it in to our Gmail account, which is conversationconartist@gmail.com, or you can send it in to our Facebook account, which is Conversation Con Artist, and we will answer it on the show. Omarosa. Mm-hmm. Omarosa is, whether she resigned, got fired, whatever the fuck, she's no longer part of the White House staff as of January the 20th. And you know, black people had a good chuckle because Omarosa is like Stacey Dash, and we kind of took her black card from her. Robin,
she ain't like Stacey Dash,
huh?
She ain't like, when did Omarosa have a black card?
Oh yeah, that's
when
true.
she was in the womb, because we didn't know what the fuck she was gonna be.
I mean,
right when she got out, her black card, I imagine, got taken.
Omarosa's terrible. Robin Roberts from Good Morning America said bye, Felicia, when it came to her. And Angela Ray, is that how you? Rye. Angela Rye, her response to it was, like she did that on national TV.
Her name is Omarosa. She sounds like a fucking Disney villain.
She does.
Omarosa Manigault.
Yep.
She sounds like a fucking bad guy.
And
I think she's a villain for the black community.
She lives up to it. She definitely lives up to it. So black people was like, okay, bitch, so bye. And the New York Post posted the cover was her being dragged out of the White House. And I saw it and I laughed and I moved on. And then I see that people are upset saying that it was racist and like they didn't do that for anybody else that got kicked out of the White House and that it was a white hand pulling her. And I'm like, of course it was a white hand yanking her out the White House. How many niggas do you think it is in there? Like if she actually got put out, it would be by somebody white. That is accurate. I did not find any fault with what the New York Post did. Cause fuck her. I don't give a fuck about her. She went in there shucking and jiving and shit for Trump. And, you know, Doug Jones won and now she out. She gone. They got rid of her. Now, word on the street is that she was in there showing her ass, which, I mean, it's Omarosa, so of course she was. And people were tired of her. People have been tired of her. And actually, apparently, Trump was the reason why she stayed as long as she did. Because other people been wanting to get rid of her ass because she just been a nightmare to deal with. Which, duh, it's Omarosa. Like, who see Omarosa and be like, oh, this is going to be a pleasant experience? She seems so sweet. Like, don't nobody look at Omarosa and say that shit. You know it's going to be unpleasant as fuck. Because she's unpleasant.
The reason that nobody else supposedly got drug out is because the reports were that she was being belligerent and using profanity and cursing on her way out. It don't seem like anybody else did that on their way out. As unpleasant as some of those people have been, it sounds like she the only one that's gotten pressed from, you know, acting up on her way out. And she's done that everywhere she done been. She act up. She acted up on the Wendy Williams show.
Yep.
She acted up on in the White House. She's acted up on The Apprentice. She acted up everywhere she's been.
Yep.
I don't know why it's odd to see her not acting up now. And more than anything, Omarosa is an opportunist.
Oh yeah,
She is somebody that's going to grab opportunity anytime at any point.
'Cause she already
Even
talking
this
about-
opportunity of leaving the White House, she talking about she saw some things that made her uncomfortable. It wasn't enough minorities in the White House.
Bet you
it
knew
wasn't
that
enough
before you
representation.
went. Yep.
So
She already talking about she's gonna tell the story, but when she can't, so she gonna say. That's why Robin Roberts was like, "Bye, Felicia," because she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure she is gonna share that story for the right price." Like she's gonna turn this into. She gonna write a book about her experience to make money off of it. So, I mean, and listen, do not get me wrong. I'm sure there's plenty of racist shit that happened in the White House, and there's plenty of racist shit that happened in America in general. But that New York time, that post, no. I did not find it to be racist. I found it to be hilarious. And fuck Omarosa. Like, she did a interview saying when she got, before she first started working in the White House, saying that everybody was turning their backs on her, and all the black people in her life was upset about her trying to do what she thought was best for the community. Like, bitch, bye, Omarosa. Like, you don't give a fuck about none of us, as evidenced by you taking this job. Like, girl, please, you think somebody gonna feel sorry for you? Of course the black people in your life was like, fuck you. The black people in general have said fuck you.
not
What
only
you
that,
expect?
because she was supposed to be a part of African American outreach, but reports have shown up that of all of the qualified black Republicans that have tried to enter to be able to work with Trump, she has been the one that's been blocking them. They say she's the one that's been keeping them out.
Yeah,
now
April, what is her?
April Ryan.
She wouldn't let. I mean, she was blocking her from doing interviews and talking. So
Well, not even that. Like that's on the lighter end.
Yeah.
We talking about on the side of these high level professional black people were trying to put in resumes, and they never got past Omarosa. And so, but the conflict there is because one dude on this particular panel was saying, "You're not about to tell me that the White House just didn't know that all of these qualified black people were sending resumes to Omarosa and she was just able to kick them out." Like, the White House would have to be okay with that happening if that's what was happening. If they were looking for diversity, they could find diversity.
Yep.
But Omarosa ain't supposed to be the gatekeeper for black people coming in and not being able to come into the system.
But black people who go into these environments knowing that you are working for people that don't respect black folks and thinking you're special, you the fall guy, because now it's your fault. Like, it wasn't us saying that we didn't want no black people, but this black person was keeping the black people out. The same thing with Stacey Dash. Stacey Dash was saying the shit that those white men couldn't say, and she was being used for that exact reason. And when her use was done, they got rid of her. Omarosa the same way. Now you the reason why we don't have diversity. You're the reason why these black, because the person who said that is right. The White House would not have allowed that if it wasn't something that they wanted to do. But now they have a scapegoat in Omarosa, and I don't feel bad for her for that, because you the dumbass who went in there when all of us know that that's what happens.
Well, I don't think that she thinks like us. I don't think that she was ever in a position where she thought Trump wouldn't be a good president. Just like a lot of these black Republicans, like on CNN, Paris Denard, and some of these other Republicans that are on this network. I don't think they
really think that, or do you think that this is a good way for them to get on TV? Like,
No,
it makes me
because
sad.
a lot of them have been on TV and a lot of them have worked for previous administrations. Like, at this point, at least the ones on CNN. But I think that they just really generally believe in the rhetoric that the Republican Party have.
That makes me
I
really
think
sad.
they believe in the border wall shit because of immigration at the cost of Latino people. I think that they believe that entitlement programs take away opportunities from black people and give them this set standard of operating. And so they are in support of taking it away at the cost of the black people that need it. I think that the shit they believe comes at the cost of all of these different groups. And I think that Republicans believe that shit. And I think conservatives believe it a lot more than, just Republicans. And so when you talk about black Republicans, or especially black conservative Republicans, I think they're going to identify more with Trump than they're going to identify with black people.
Yeah.
Because they are black. Yeah, they not going to identify with that side. You can look at Ben Carson as evidence of when you have that life where you're on food stamps, on welfare, on social programs, you can develop an extreme rhetoric in the opposite direction of that. You know, instead of what is accurate in saying that those programs helped him become who he was, I wonder who the fuck he think he would have become if he wasn't on that shit. Like if his mama picked herself up by her bootstraps and actually worked harder and didn't use welfare and all those other social programs, instead of being a fucking award-winning neurosurgeon, what the fuck did he think he would be? Fucking colonizing Saturn and shit? Like, where the fuck did he... Like, those programs were the catalyst for him not fucking dying when he was 4 years old.
Yeah.
They were the catalyst for him and his siblings not fucking starving to death when they were 7.
Yep.
They weren't something that kept... Like, he could become who the fuck he became with that shit existing. So how you grow up and become somebody who don't believe that shit is necessary, that is a fucking mind flaw to me. Like, that's a personality character flaw. It's one of those situations where you're... Because I think the ideal human in this world, I think, is balanced on a lot of shit. From my perspective. Now, what we have is we have motherfuckers that's super duper strong and dumb as fuck. I think balance. And when you're talking about mentally, I think emotionally balanced mean that you generally don't have mental health issues. When bad shit happen, you know, you feel bad and it come back. When good shit happen, you get and it come back. I think that's a normal brain. But I think that people like Ben Carson and people who extreme overly and vigilantly adversely to things that they experience, I think that's a character trait or a person that's not very well balanced, who can't look at their environment and say, you know, I understand why these things exist, but I also understand why these other people have this, and then look at his environment and say, you know, this environment is what I grew up in, but I became this. So why would I be thinking that this whole shit that helped me become who I am should go away? How many more kids like me would this be helping? And how many, if it didn't exist, that could be me, ain't gonna be me now because they didn't have a platform to stand on. They didn't have enough medical help. So they had to spend 4 years in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Because Medicaid could have solved this problem 4 years ago. Like, I just think that's like a, not character trait, character flaw, personality flaw. It's something with your brain. It's a temperament flaw probably. I think it's a temperament flaw. You can't put your finger on exactly what it is, but the way that that person is interpreting what's going on through them is going to dictate how they inevitably are going to look at that thing when they become a rational adult. But either way, Omarosa ain't shit. She ain't really represented the black community. The only thing about the black community that she represented is that she have skin the same color as us. But that is where the fucking ball stops. Like, after that, her ideals are not only white, but, and white is wrong to say, but they're not only white, but they're white and destructive. You know, they're white and they're self-motivated. They're white and they're from the lens of an opportunist. And she's a narcissist too.
Oh, yeah.
She's as much as a narcissist. It wouldn't surprise me if we found out she used to drown puppies. Like, whenever she make her fucking biography. The first time I saw a puppy almost dying, I decided to drown that little motherfucker. Put him out of his misery. It felt good. I need a rush.
Oh, God.
You got any puppies?
Oh, Jesus.
Omarosa also said that Donald Trump is racial, but not racist. So that forces me to ask, how much shit do you have to do to be racist? Like, and it goes back to that dialogue when you talk about police officers, when you talk about these systems of systemic racism. Do a fucking Klan hood gotta fall out of somebody's pocket
Apparently.
when they do something to a black person for you to say, oh shit, they're racist? Because that's never gonna happen. You know, does an old picture of them at a Klan, because we got old pictures of motherfuckers in Klan rallies and shit, and people like, they're not racist. Donald Trump's daddy got arrested for fucking Klan-related activities. What the fuck kind of son do you think you raise if you are a KKK member? Your daddy is a KKK member. What the fuck? You're going to be something close.
Indeed.
Something similar. And what Donald Trump has done is he's found a way to market to a lot of people who see value in him financially, but not as a person. And you can do that when you're a businessman because you don't give a fuck who money you take. If I was a billionaire, he wouldn't give a fuck that I'm black. That's why he don't give a fuck about talking to Kanye and Steve Harvey and all these people. But he ain't said shit to me or you.
No, he wouldn't.
He ain't referenced me or you. The last time that he referenced either one of us directly was when he said, "What have you got to lose?" Otherwise, Donald Trump does not have a message for poor black people. He ain't said shit to poor black people. He ain't said shit to regular black people. He ain't said shit to middle class black people.
Nope.
He ain't said nothing to impact our community.
Nope.
You got anything else about that?
Nope.
Which takes us right into Doug Jones.
Doug Jones.
Who won the election in Alabama Senate seat.
Teach me how to Dougie.
A lot of motherfuckers did not think Doug Jones was going to win.
I was one of them.
I
voted for him, but
because we live in the Bible Belt.
Yep.
And Roy Moore was running off of good Christian principles and values.
Let me just take just a little sidebar about good Christian values and living in the Bible Belt. Part of the reason that I identify mostly at this point as agnostic is because of people like Roy Moore and the people that voted for him. Your good Christian values only relate to certain things. It's not across the board. And so good Christian values means that men marry women, women marry men, and that's it. It means that you don't kill babies. Now, we ain't gonna help you once the fucking baby get here, because that ain't got nothing to do with us. And that's your business. But we are gonna make sure that every child that gets conceived will be born, because it is against, the Bible. But, me cheating on my wife with 14-year-olds, or me just having sex with 14-year-olds in general, me stealing money from state and local government, those things don't matter. And those things are not against Christian values, I guess. Like, I have such an issue with, like, these evangelical Christians. I can't deal with it. It annoys, because it's like, you are full of shit. You full of shit. You don't even believe the shit you say you believe, because if you did, you would not have been able to vote for Roy Moore based off of the shit that he's done. Instead of looking at what he ain't done. Well, he's not with another man. Well, his wife's never had an abortion. Let's look at what he did, though. Like, let's look at the things he did do.
But look, the Republican Party, their platform is, hey, little unborn little motherfucker, I promise to get your ass here if you leave it up to me. But once you get here,
cut all the programs that will help you when you get here.
Once you get here, fuck you, fuck welfare, fuck food stamps, fuck Medicaid, fuck food stamps. I said food stamps.
You did.
Fuck any kind of assistance. You know what? Fuck Planned Parenthood, because, even though 80% of the fucking services they do is shit that help families, generally speaking, the 20% of them that fucking do abortions, we can't support that, so fuck that. And you know what? Actually, when you turn 14 and a 13-year-old creepy ass motherfucker is coming up to you trying to get your digits and stripping down his drawers in his living room, you know what? Fuck that too. We don't even give a fuck about you. We gonna support the grown man, because you know what? We got you here. That was the only part of our contract. Our contract says once we get you here, that's it. You on your fucking own. So I think that's how, clearly that's not what the Bible say, but that's how Christians in the Bible Belt are able to be manipulated by politicians that use faith as that platform.
So again, this is part of why I just don't rock with Christians like that. You have a mind of your own. If you say that you believe in this book, the Bible, if you say you believe in this entity, God, then it don't matter what they're telling you. Like, if they're telling you this, and yes, they're not doing some of these sins, but they're committing other sins, I don't know how you can reconcile that with yourself and say, oh, it's all right.
But it's a loophole, though.
What's the loophole?
It's a loophole, just like a Catholic priest fucking a little boy is a loophole.
That ain't a loophole.
It ain't in the Bible that you can't fuck little boys. They can't marry a woman or have sexual intercourse with a woman.
Homosexuality is in the Bible, and you fucking a little boy as a man is homosexual.
Well, it depends on whether you consider...
No.
What?
It depends on whether you consider what?
It depends on whether you consider yourself a homosexual.
No. According to Christianity, having sex with the same sex is homosexual. That is what homosexual. You don't have to identify. If you out here fucking little boys, you're a homosexual, sir. According to the Bible. That's what I'm saying. It's hypocritical.
Well, I mean, to your point, I think the issue with homosexuality is the sex anyway.
Okay.
If you call yourself gay and never have sex with a man, then you fine according to God. But
exactly. So a priest fucking a little boy is homosexual.
So that's the wrong kind of loophole.
Yep.
But anyway, I think for Christianity, the loophole is that where does the Bible say not to interact with a 14-year-old in that way? Because that just goes to the societal norms. Like, that's a moral call.
But it ain't the societal norms anymore. Because you go to jail
But that's what I'm saying.
Shit.
That's a societal call.
Yeah.
That ain't a biblical call. The biblical call says don't waste your seed. So any way that you would not have your child, including abortion, including a condom, including skin on her face. I mean, some women is in that. Including those things, though, you can't do those things. You can't waste the seed. You wake up, if you have a wet dream, you're supposed to wake up and pray.
Oh my God.
Even though it wasn't your choice.
Well, but so if that's the case, then, cause here's my problem with it going back to you being hypocritical. So, okay, Roy Moore, ain't nothing in the Bible that said that he couldn't be out here pushing up against 14-year-olds. So then you should not be the same parent who is trying to lock your little 14-year-old's 18-year-old boyfriend up because he had sex with your daughter. It's the same fucking thing. So if you feel like the dude that's trying to holler at your daughter is wrong and you're going to look at the laws and abide by that and it's an issue, then it's the issue that Roy Moore did. But it's different when it's your kid and it wasn't your daughter he was pushing up on.
I don't think white people do that. I think black people do that as it pertains to catching their daughters with a boy that's older.
No,
I think white people do it as it pertains to their daughters sleeping with black boys.
No, they do it with older white boys. I've had some clients that are on, because they put you on the you're a sex offender when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I've had that situation happen and the dude's been white and the girl was white. So if you gonna do that and you gonna ruin this kid's whole life because he had sex with your daughter when they were in a relationship and because the law says that 4 years between them is too much, you cannot then turn around and say it ain't no big deal for Roy Moore to do it with somebody else's daughter.
In the South is where shotgun weddings originated. Like shotgun weddings was like if you get the girl pregnant, y'all getting married.
Exactly.
Like, so that's why I'm saying like I just haven't seen that in big proportions in the white community, which are the ones who gonna force you to be with that person versus the African American community, which I ain't never heard of no fucking shotgun weddings in no African American community. You know,
it used to happen. We don't give a shit about that now.
But either way, like I think universally, if a black man get caught having sex with a white girl in that situation, if he survives. Number one, because we all know about this police officer that shot that black boy because he came to meet him at his house.
But guess what? Even that is wrong. Even that. But either way, I don't care what nationality. If you believe that there is nothing in the Bible about age restrictions, even if the boy black, it shouldn't matter. Shouldn't matter. Because you feel like your 14-year-old daughter is old enough to be out here with a 33-year-old. So it don't matter. You should just, if he willing to marry her, he get her pregnant, he willing to marry her, you should be able to just sign them papers because parents can do that. You can sign for her to get married. You should just do that because it's not a problem. But it's not a problem, or it's not a problem because these were not your daughters that this happened to.
Well, I think that's really a bigger representation of the polarization that politics forces you to be in. You either get to be pro-life or you get to be pro-choice. You don't get to be a middle ground of where you understand the importance of life, but you understand some choices sometimes where you don't fucking adamantly disagree with it.
Pro-choice, I don't feel like pro-choice is anti-life though. That's the misconception I feel that people have about.
That's where the polarization comes from a Republican. Pro-choice is anti-life. That's why from their perspective, yes, it is a completely polarizing. So you can't choose. You're not going to be a Democrat. So if you're a Republican, you got to be pro-life and you got to go with all that extra pro-life shit they got, even though A middle ground would represent you having a problem with a 18-year-old boy having sex with your 14-year-old, but they're voting for this dude because they not gonna vote for the other side. But and that's a big part because of the polarization of politics. A big part of that is because of gerrymandering and redrawing districts in a way, because when you gerrymander a district, when you draw a district and you draw these little lines that carve out different neighborhoods, like they'll create, like if you look at Alabama's district map, they got like little bitty lines drawn that pull out a rich neighborhood. So you got a whole district that's just full of rich people, wealthy people, no black people. So you got a whole district full of Republicans. And the person that drew that line said, you know what? Republicans gonna be able to vote for me for the next 40 years. The problem is that same district is going to produce people to run against you. And now because it's only Republicans, they gotta be extreme. They gotta be really extreme now. And so you're going to get some extreme competition. And you, as a moderate Republican, which is in the center, you're either going to have to go along with them extreme ideals to win, or you're going to have to let this extremist win. And Roy Moore was that extremist. And Doug Jones is extreme on the other side. What we're supposed to be trying to do is get back to this moderate level of politics where motherfuckers can at least look at each other in the eye and come up with plans that benefit everybody to some degree and move forward, instead of this shit that Trump got going on and Democrats got going on, where we want what we want and we want what we want and we ain't gonna even fucking agree on shit. And that's what happened right now. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer versus Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell. Schumer and Pelosi didn't even come to the last meeting just because Trump said we ain't making no motherfucking deal. They didn't even come to the meeting. And now you got politics where the whole Republican House of Senate is saying we just gonna pass the fuck out of this healthcare. Fuck y'all. Like we got to get away from that shit. But that's also the same dynamic that don't let them people consider themselves as being in the middle and being able to support some shit on this side, but understanding this other shit. And that's just how it looked to us.
But that is so extreme that you, in order to support, that you're willing to support a pedophile just so you can continue to support Republicans, like at the cost of your own moral values. Because that's what it is. Like, I think that this is morally repugnant, but I'm still gonna vote for him because I gotta vote Republican. That's insane. That is crazy to me.
Polarization.
I don't understand the mentality, because I don't operate like that. Like, I'm not gonna vote. I'm not gonna vote Democrat simply because. I'm not gonna do that. If you a pedophile out here fucking little girls, and like Roy Moore is so.
What if? Because I think this is how Republicans look at it. What if Doug Jones had did some horrible shit in his past, like burned down a black church?
But did he?
What I'm saying is, what if the decision for you was two repugnant decisions? Because from their vantage point, like, would you just not vote?
I'd have wrote in somebody else. I would have found somebody else and wrote them in.
Well, I think the Republican Party could have done better if the RNC would have found somebody to rally behind in Alabama that's a Republican and had a lot of Republicans write him in.
Well, they had. How did Moore win over Strange? Because they was between the two of them.
Because Strange was because Trump. Well, no, Trump endorsed Strange. Because they fell for that rhetoric. They fell for that rhetoric of Donald Trump saying we're going to drain the swamp. And Roy Moore's campaign painted Luther Strange as a swamp Republican. And they painted Roy Moore as somebody who is going to fight for life and they're going to fight for straight or family values because of the LGBT shit. They was looking at it like he lost his job in order to fight for the shit we believe in. And they started following behind him because of that shit. And you know how ass backwards that fucking is? This motherfucker who don't believe in the Constitution, who is supposed to be supporting the party of the Constitution, is sitting here supporting him because he didn't follow the Constitution just because it was supporting some shit that you believe.
That's another thing, traditional family values. Like, these folks go home and beat the fuck out of their wives, but they had a right to do that because it's a man and a woman. Like, it just, I've lived in Alabama my whole life. I've been in the Bible Belt my whole life, and I've never understood the way that people pick and choose the shit they want to get upset about, or they pick and choose the things that matter. And my thing again, which is why I just cannot fuck with Christianity, like either all of this stuff is right, all of this stuff that the Bible says you're not supposed to do, you don't need to do, or none of it. But you don't get to pick and choose the shit that don't apply to you and decide that that's what you gonna fuck with. Like, I can't get behind that. How am I supposed to want to follow your hypocritical ass?
Well, I think in Alabama we just have a lot of one issue voters. And Republicans, it's only a few Republicans that really truly give a fuck about the shit that the people that we walk around in the grocery store in Alabama with care about. But they're smart enough to know how to play fucking puppeteer with all of these people down here to have them continuing to vote against their own interests.
Stupid. That's what. But I guess I know all of that. My issue is, why are these people so fucking stupid? Why are they allowing themselves to be puppeteered and allowing themselves to be distracted by this one issue voting shit?
Red,
you stupid.
Let's not let our intelligence that we have, let's not take it for granted. We are smart, relatively speaking. It's a lot of shit I'm dumb in. I misspeak a lot. I don't use the right words. But you know what? To me, smart and intelligence just means adaptability. You know, I can adapt to shit. But we have a lot of people in this world that can't adapt to different ways of thinking. They can't adapt to different ways of living. And we live in fucking Alabama.
I know.
I drive by cotton fields to go to some of my clients' houses. I think of slavery when I think of that shit. They think of their granddaddy business. You know what I'm saying? Like, that. We got people out here that ain't interested in being better, ain't interested in being different. I got clients right now that I know don't give a fuck about their kids getting to school and their kids in elementary school. They don't give a fuck because you know what? They just think that their daughter gonna graduate school and ain't gonna use none of that shit in school ever. They just gonna get a job. Like they got a job. And they gonna work that job and they gonna help their mama and help their grandmama until they die. And that's not the case.
It's just sad.
But that's what we got around here. We got a whole bunch of lemmings.
It's so sad.
And if you don't know what a lemming is, it's a little motherfucker that will do the same thing that the other motherfucker do in front of them, even if they walk off a fucking cliff. They all going off the fucking cliff. It's a game called Lemmings that represents that shit.
Yeah.
That's how they are. And they can be manipulated because their IQs are low. You talking about Alabama, man. The county I work in, it's a lot of incest. Yeah, that's an even lower representation of IQ. Like, it's a lot of issues that goes on in those communities that are exploited by the Republican Party because they are the puppet masters. They Geppetto out here.
This shit is ridiculous.
Pinocchio. Big nose.
Don't understand. Well, I went and I voted regardless of the fact. I was sure that Roy Moore was going to win because of people like that, because I know that that's the mentality around here and in the Bible Belt in general. And so I voted in spite of that because, and I think I've said this before, I vote not because, and I mean, this is sad, but I don't vote because I feel like my voice matters. I vote because too many people died for me to have the right to do it, and it's not like it hurts me to do it. It's not like it's this big ass inconvenience for me to go down to this little white church, because that's why I had to vote, with a bunch of little white people looking at me like I was crazy. It doesn't hurt me to go and bubble in that shit and put it in a machine. It doesn't. So I do it. Not because I feel like it's going to make a difference, though, because I was sure that Roy Moore was going to win. And the fact it was so close. Like, he almost did. I was very surprised that when the outcome was Doug Jones. I really was. And I voted. Again, not because I felt like that shit was going to matter. At this point, especially after the presidential election, I'm just like, I'm going to do it because I feel like it's my duty to respect the people that came before me. But outside of that, I don't know that it matters. So I voted in spite of. And a lot of black women, 98%. To be exact, went out and voted. I think 96% of men, 92. Black men, 92% of black men voted for Mr. Jones. So I'm glad. I mean, I'm glad Roy Moore wouldn't even concede.
But
he was like, the final counts are.
That goes into a different dialogue of this. So it's a guy on my friends list that is a lawyer in Birmingham And let me tell you what one of the statements that he said in this. Now, he supported Doug Jones during this election, but Doug Jones' campaign represents a big issue with the Democratic Party, especially in state elections. Until he found out that he needed the black vote to win against Roy Moore, he did not do any campaigning towards the black people.
And then he did it the fuck stop after he figured that shit out. Because I got so many flyers in my mailbox and so many motherfucking phone calls and text messages and shit. It's like, goddamn, Jones, I know. Like, get off my tit.
Now, I'm going to read a couple of statements paragraphs from what he's saying, from his situation, and I feel this way exactly. The Democratic Party has a responsibility to have blacks in positions to make decisions in reference to policy and direction of the party. Don't continue to be the organization mostly run by white men who have limited interest in what blacks have, except a vote when it's needed. We are a loyal voting bloc and must be in positions of leadership and influence within the party. Not one or two positions, but many. We are loyal to the Democratic Party, and they need to be loyal to us. The Jones campaign ignored many highly qualified minority-owned political consulting firms. Hence, the whack flyers such as the black man with tooted up lips that could have easily derailed his election. These highly qualified vendors have a track record of providing excellent levels of service and content that wins campaigns but were ignored. Many of those firms would have vetoed bad communication such as this. However, white-owned firms get a large majority of the business money, and their messaging often totally sucks. So when the people call me, when she said they wouldn't stop, they were calling, they were texting. I got a robocall from President Obama. Yep. I got a robocall from somebody named Richard. I got a robocall from Doug Jones' wife. Now, Doug Jones didn't know about two of the robocalls. He didn't know about the Obama robocall. So I think that a lot of his campaign was being run by people without his say-so. So he probably had nothing to do with that flyer. He probably had nothing to do with the actual tactics to reach out to the African-American community.
It was too much. Like, it was annoying. Like,
but
goddamn.
To one of them, she said, do you have Doug Jones support? And I said, Doug Jones has my vote. She said, okay, well, now that you're supporting Doug Jones, we would like to, ask you to come out and volunteer. I said, he has my vote, but he does not have my support because he has not had a plan or shown anything that he would do for the African-American community or a message that speaks positively to the conditions that the African-American community in Alabama is facing. He has said nothing regarding that. He has hinged upon his prosecution of racial terrorists in the past, but I don't know what he's going to do. And support for a Democrat in Alabama is the difference between keeping that seat long term and that being the only stint that you have in the Senate. He is not automatically going to get that next year. If a sensible Republican come out, he's going to lose that seat.
Yep.
And so what his name is Eric Guster. What he is suggesting is that he gonna be a Republican by the end of this. He said that he either got to be a very, very moderate Democrat and cater to the white Trump base in order to keep that seat, which, like I said, goes back to that partisan way of politics. He's got to change what his platform is in order to cater to people that will keep him elected, or he got to become a Republican.
Yep. And
Eric said if he becomes a Republican, if he don't become a Republican, he'll donate $500 to Alabama A&M. He said if he don't become a Republican, if he do become a Republican, then everybody on his poster liking his status, he asked them to donate $20 to Alabama State. So I'm gonna keep an eye on what he's about to do, and I wonder how that's going to affect Governor Ivey, because she was even ready to support Roy Moore over Doug Jones. So, but Senator Shelby wouldn't.
Nope.
So it's going to be interesting to see what this look like, but Republicans right now in Alabama need to gear up to find a great valid replacement who they can go look through his life and see who you done fucked. Okay. Number one, have you fucked any kids? Okay. Let's get that out of the way. What, have you shown any kids? Okay. You didn't fuck no kids that we know of, but did you touch them inappropriately? Did you strip down to your drawers with some? Like, we need to know those things. That's what the Republican Party need to be doing.
Creep, man.
What the Democratic Party need to be doing is cultivating a relationship with the black community. They need that 97%, and they need that 92% of the black community.
98.
But 98% of the black women and 92% of the black men. But it's still not going to be enough, because of all of those 50,000 or however many write-ins, vote for that Republican, or if the black people that voted against Roy Moore that would have voted Republican, that, you know, you got to have that. You got to have like a relationship with some of these communities have to be cultivated.
Yep.
So, damn, that was a long fucking dialogue about that bullshit.
It was. I mean,
what you got?
Well, so I just want to mention that Roy Moore's campaign manager is an idiot. If y'all have not seen this clip from CNN with Jake Tapper questioning Roy Moore's campaign manager. So apparently Roy Moore said that a Muslim should never be able to hold an office, and Jake Tapper was like, well, why is that? And his manager was like, well, because when you get sworn in and you take office, you have to swear on the Bible. And Roy Moore maintains that a Muslim would not be able ethically to swear on the Bible. So Jake Tapper was like, I don't know if you know this, but you can literally swear on anything. It does not have to be a Christian Bible. You could do a Quran. There's been somebody that's swore on the Constitution. You can literally swear on anything. And he was like, no, Jake, I've been in here three terms, and I swore on the Bible. He said, I'm sure you did, because that's what you chose. But you don't have to swear on the Bible. It looked like there was some kind of a pause in the transmission, because he was just sitting there with his mouth open, blinking. He wasn't moving at all. To the point where Jake Tapper had to be like, you didn't know that? And he was still sitting there. Jake was finna move on. He was like, all I know is when President Trump we put him in office, he swore on the Bible. And Jake was like, that because that's what he chose. And then he just cut out. But this shit,
swearing on a Red Lobster menu, goddamn.
Fucking funny. Like,
swearing on my cell phone. He got Bible apps on it. I ain't got nothing downloaded, but they on here.
It was like, here's the thing. The issue is not, most people, I didn't know that. Most people did not know that. But it wasn't, I didn't have to know it. But if you're going to go on CNN and say, this is why a Muslim can't be, you need to make sure that that's the fucking case. Don't just go spouting bullshit you don't know. Like, that's something he should have known because of the argument that he was making. Does the average American know that? No. They know it now. Did the average American know that? No. But we didn't have to know that. If you're going to make an argument, you need to make sure that your argument holds water. And otherwise, you're just going to look stupid like he did. And the fact that he had his mouth hanging on, y'all have to go look at the video. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. He literally had his mouth wide open and he was just blinking like an idiot. And like, you could see the wheels turning on him trying to like figure out a way to get out of it, but you done dug yourself so fucking deep at this point. Ain't no getting out this hole. I watched that thing like 10 times because it was just so fucking funny to me that he got schooled so beautifully. And Jake Tapper, like...
Jake Tapper's good.
Yes, he is.
I like Chris Cuomo better.
Cuomo. It was funny. If y'all haven't seen it, go look this shit. All you gotta do is type in Jake Tapper. That's gonna be the first thing that pop up because it was everywhere. Because it was so fucking funny. He just looked so confused, poor thing.
I like CNN anchors. Mm-hmm. I even like Don Lemon better now.
People do. Like, yeah, he's likable now. Did he? I don't want to be putting out. Didn't he come out? Mm-hmm. Okay, I think people like him better since maybe because once he live in his truth.
He talked about. I mean, he talk about sexual abuse, his sexual abuse on the show.
Maybe he's happy.
He be like, I don't know if anybody heard me say this before, but I said it on the show before that I was sexually abused when I was a kid. Blah 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 blah.
Maybe he's just happier since he's living his truth, and it's allowed him to be better at his job.
He might be, but he be challenging them folks in there though now.
Well, Jake Tapper does that a lot. He did it a lot. That was the most memorable part because of the deer in the headlights look. But he called him out on a lot of other bullshit that Roy Moore had said that don't make no sense, that he couldn't back up.
Bro, these anchors are mad. These anchors are not happy with the political structuring of the Republican Party in terms of challenging all of these organizations. They're challenging all of media, but mostly just the left-leaning media. Yep. They're challenging... Oh, what else was I finna say? They challenging the media.
Black folks.
They're challenging black folks. Damn, I forgot what else I was finna say. But Trump, I mean, our intelligence agencies.
Oh yeah.
They're challenging all of them, but it's only when things are said that they don't like that it's challenged.
Oh, yeah,
and now because I think all of the political commentators that get on these shows, I think they go to the White House and Donald Trump them say this is what happened, because they told the black commentators and black Republicans to take their gloves off regarding Omarosa. Why would you tell the black Republicans that? You know, that's the report that came out that they told him like they just using black people like the goddamn.
The black people, I don't feel sorry for the people they're using though, because if you had any sense, you know that you're just being used to say the shit they can't say. You're being used to say the shit you're not gonna get as much heat for saying because you're black. That's the only fucking reason why you're being handed the shit that you are. It's because they're using you so that they could like not have to deal with the backlash of them saying this bullshit. So that whole...
I don't blame them, though. They just in the sunken place.
They really in the sunken place. Like, deep in it. Deep in it. Did you see the... So, during... When they were waiting for the outcome of the vote, one of Roy Moore's, like, pals was telling a story about when they were in the military. Did you hear this story? Okay, so he was telling a story about when they were over in Asian country. I don't know if it was China, Japan, Korea, maybe. And so they some people were gonna take them out. Right, it was their last night in town. They were gonna take them out.
Kill them?
No, take them out for like to party and have fun. So they took them out, and they ended up at this club where young Korean girls were prostituting. And so the story was the end of the guy was like, and I'll tell you this, Roy Moore said, this isn't right. I'm not comfortable with this and I'm leaving. So I guess that story was supposed to show that, of course Roy Moore wasn't fucking with little 14-year-old white girls because he was turning down 14-year-old Korean girls. So of course he ain't messing with these little white girls at all. And it was such an awkward story. This is he's an older, because of course they served together. So he about the same age as Roy Moore with these little dorky glasses on, telling a story about Korean prostitutes in defense.
That moment when your racism is higher than your pedophilia.
Because that's my thing. It's like, of course they were Korean girls. Like
they brown people, bruh. Exactly. That's why.
He wanted
pure race
and
shit.
Exactly. He wanted
white supremacy. Come
on. If he had went into a club with little white girls being sold, it might have been a different story. But this does not help your case, sir. And then you had his wife saying, "Well, fake news would have you think that we're racist." Well, I'm here to tell you that is not true. One of our lawyers is a Jew.
Which, if y'all didn't know, is a politically incorrect and offensive way to refer to Jewish people.
It's a slur. Yes. You don't call them Jews. You call them Jewish. She could have said, we have a Jewish lawyer. But a Jew, and then, let me just say this.
Well, let me add to that before you say that. Not only that, but Alabama lawyers were reached out to try to find who in the world this lawyer was. Nobody can find him.
Damn.
Nobody knows who this lawyer is.
He don't exist.
They could have said his name, but the fact that they umbrellaed that shit by just a random term.
Living in Alabama, and I know this is terrible, but it's how I feel. Anytime I hear somebody that sounds like Roy Moore and his wife that have that deep Southern accent, I try to avoid them because I automatically assume they racist as fuck. Like, that accent grates my fucking nerves. I can't stand that shit. And so it's already a slur to call somebody a Jew, but when you say it with that deep Southern accent, it just has so much more fucked upness about it. Like, I hate that fucking accent. Anytime I meet somebody that talk like that, I just be like, okay, I could be friends, and I know that's terrible, but I'm stereotyping, but I can't. That accent just does something to me.
I didn't read the article, but the Onion, the Onion be having them
the satirical pieces.
Yeah, they be having them tags, but it says My roommate is playing a game and he just
What the
screamed
fuck
all
was
kind
that?
of crazy.
Oh my god.
But the article title is Roy Moore retired from politics to spend more quality time with someone's kid. That shit was hilarious to me when I read it. I didn't read the article, but the Onion, like, they be throwing some funny ass shit out there.
Yeah, they be on it. They funny as fuck. Yeah, I can't take that accent. So that whole thing, her whole little speech, she said some other stuff, but the thing that still, and like the fact that you think it's okay, like she said a Jew so hard and so confidently because she really doesn't know that that's offensive as fuck and that's not helping your argument. What? That's like saying, I'm not a racist, I got a black friend. Okay. Is your black friend Omarosa? Because that shit don't count.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
It makes a difference.
What kind of black friend you got?
That don't matter. You saying that. The fact, because I never say that. I never say, I got a white friend. Like, I don't ever do that. And if somebody called me racist, my go-to would not be, well, I have a white friend. I'm not gonna do that. I don't owe you shit. I treat everybody the same. So fuck you. That would be my response. But it ain't gonna be like, well, I got a white friend and I work with white people. Okay. That don't mean shit.
Yeah, we don't have no choice for real.
No, we really don't.
Like, we gotta work with white people.
Yeah.
Now, white people can choose not to work with us, or at least to work with us as minimally as possible.
Well, you know what? Surprisingly, the job that I have now, the place that I work, white people are the minority. There's like 2 white people that work in the whole building. So I don't, and most of the clients, obviously, because we cater to people that don't have insurance, are black folks. So on an average day, like if my coworker that I went to Six Flags, I talk to her every day, but if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't talk to nothing but black folks every day at work. Which is an anomaly. That's not the average black African Americans experience, but that's my experience right now. This is the first place I've ever worked where it was mostly black people. Never happened before this job. They're the minorities. And you can tell because my supervisor loved to say shit like, girlfriend? I'm like, bitch, sit down. Don't do that. It's unnecessary.
But she might do it at home.
We don't even say that shit no more. Like, why do they do that? When you trying to be down, they like pull old shit out and say,
'Cause I want to be down.
oh my God.
I want to be down with you.
And
that's how they be.
I wish they had never taught her shade. She said shade too much. Just, is that some shade? Are you throwing a little shade my way? I wish whoever taught her that shit, fuck you, cause she used it, and it's always so awkward, and you just be like, you don't know what to say.
Like
to
if I was throwing shade at you, I just put the whole tree down on your ass.
Somebody need to push.
Oh, the whole air
down.
conditioner, goddamn.
So crazy ass.
Okay, Russell Simmons. You do know about these allegations that come out against Russell Simmons, right?
I know about the first set, and I know about this second set where he's decided he's going to take a lie detector test.
Yeah, so Russell Simmons is like, I ain't having it. All these allegations coming up against me.
But you stepped down, bruh.
I think he was just doing what he considered to be the right thing to do.
Well,
I don't think he thinks that it had anything to do with, guilt or innocence. I think that he was doing something to make his company look better.
Public perception is what matters. And so even if he didn't feel like that's like me avoiding some shit out of the blue that I just got. I don't know. Like obviously it's gonna have people are gonna look at it as a plea of guilty because you stepped down.
Well,
because
he likely
these other people that have been accused. Well, Harvey Weinstein has stepped down from shit. Now people are forcing him
because they put his ass out.
Yeah.
Which would happen with Russell Simmons were he to not choose to step down.
I guess.
So like it's other people that's being represented. Like I don't know if he owned the higher percentages, but it's ways that they could get him out of the business if they have some kind of clause on there that say he could. But I think he did the shit. I mean, he's a man in power. Mm-hmm. Men in power been doing this shit for fucking ever.
And he's just an asshole in general. Like, y'all ever like seen him interact? Like, I don't know if you watched Rev Run's show, but when he was on there, like, he an asshole. He one of them people that you can't tell nothing to because he think he know every fucking thing. He one of them people.
But that ain't even my primary beef with Russell Simmons. My primary beef with Russell Simmons is that he put hashtag not me up. And as much as and if you didn't know, hashtag me too has been trending, referencing women who have been impacted by some kind of sexual abuse. And you know what? The women that you see posting Me Too ain't even a representation of all the women who have gone through shit that ain't even willing to say it and put it out there.
Not Me is the equivalent of All Lives Matter.
No, it's not.
You don't think so?
No, because at least in All Lives Matter, it gives you the illusion that you care about every fucking body. We know that wasn't the case.
What I mean by that is it's to distract from the actual point or the actual
I feel
movement.
like in order for hashtag Black Lives Matter, for the not me to be similar to it, the All Lives Matter would have had to be Black Lives Ain't Shit. Because now All Lives Matter implicitly undercut Black Lives Matter, but not me directly attacks women who are putting allegations up against him.
Well,
and not only that, but it's going to embolden other men to do the same shit for things that you can't even prove now. You can't even prove it. And his team got ahead because he's taking a lie detector test. And you know what the problem with a lie detector test is in this situation? Is that powerful men that do this shit don't actually believe that they doing shit wrong.
Yeah. So the test is going to come out.
Yeah, they're going to pass a fucking test. They believe that from their vantage point that the woman wanted it and that they were invited in to do it. But that's not the case. And I wonder what questions they asked him on that test. They should ask him, did that woman ask you to take her home, but you chose to take her to your apartment regardless anyway? That's the questions they need to ask. Because that's what happened with one of them. But his little legal team, which is a couple of black dudes, got out there saying that, well, against his legal counsel, he decided to do this because there are a lot of inconsistencies in this story where they're not telling the whole. And I'm like, y'all really finna get up here and invalidate all of these women's stories. And it's really just pissing me off that once, somebody on ESPN was like, look, you throw a stick on the ground, you know what I'm saying? You can move, it ain't no problems. But once you start putting a stick on top of another stick, on top of another stick, on top of another stick, and you try to move one, all of them going, like, at a point when you get all these different women putting allegations on you, like, at a certain point, that shit means something. At a certain point, it means that some of this shit got to be true. Or your perception about how you interact with women is consistently bad. Even if you don't believe that anything you're doing is wrong, you're putting yourself in situations where multiple women will come out and say that this shit. And you know what? These women don't have shit to gain. Most of these women don't have shit to gain. Maybe a book at some point.
Yeah.
But at this point, these women coming out, they ain't seeking shit. I mean, clearly there is always room for like interviews and all this shit, but ain't nobody that Roy Moore done came out about Roy Moore done took no money or done said no shit. The people who are impacted by Harvey Weinstein, they held this shit in until their careers was pretty damn solid.
Yep.
Before they said shit, and that's the power dynamic. And all these women with Russell Simmons, like, what can they get out of this shit? You can't prove that it happened or not. It would be different if he was paying them to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Because it was legally possible to go after somebody for that shit. But so Russell Simmons, I don't really care about him enough to say, fuck him. I don't give a fuck about him. But I feel like I never cared about him anyway. So I feel like a fuck you from me ain't really a big representation. Like somebody powerful and big or somebody that's been a fan of him for the long term would have to say, Russell Simmons can kiss my ass for it to mean more than what it mean coming from me, because I ain't never gave a fuck about him. He look weird. He look like a creep.
He does.
I don't trust people that don't let their facial hair grow nowhere. Like if you shave all your facial hair off all the time, I need to know why. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do your beard grow? You feel me? Like, do you ever let your beard out there or mustache out there? If you bald faced it every time I see you on purpose and you shiny, I don't trust you. I just don't. I can't. Creepy. I feel like you're trying to keep people from being able to grab them hairs off your face and have some DNA going in it. He bald headed too. He trying to make sure ain't no hairs coming off on nobody. His whole body probably baby smooth, and he could pay for it.
Oh, that's gross. Forensic countermeasures, people take them.
That's bullshit.
Cardi B bought Offset a car. Let me just say this about this new money. And in the video that they took showing this shit, Offset got on 3 fucking watches at the same time. Now, listen, if I became a millionaire tomorrow, I would probably buy some of the things that I had always wanted. Absolutely. But this type of shit is just that hood shit. Like, I don't understand this. Like, you know how fleeting music can be? Like, people could just stop fucking with you and then what? You went and bought this nigga who you're not married to yet. Yeah, y'all are engaged, but y'all got engaged after like 3 months of dating or some shit. And now you done went and bought him a car. And then she got mad when somebody said she was leasing it. She was like, I bought it. I paid money. Okay, so that makes you even stupider because now that you definitely not gonna get this fucking car back, and it's just money down the drain. I don't understand that. Like, and then him wearing these 3 watches, like, really? You it's not enough for you to own the 3 watches. I need people to know that I have these 3 diamond out watches. So I'm gonna wear all 3 of these hoes at the same time. Even though it don't make no fucking sense at all, I'm gonna wear all 3 of these watches. Like, you just look stupid. This what you do when you get some money? That's that new money.
You know what? It was a Rolls Royce, which runs about $200,000 to $300,000. And the watch looked like it was about $25,000.
He has 3 of them on.
A Wraith watch. She bought him all 3?
She bought him one, but then she didn't buy him a watch. She had bought the watch for like some other, something else, anniversary, something.
Where did her money come from?
Well, here's that.
Does the fucking TV show she was on and the single that she let out, that give you enough money to pay $300,000 for shit?
I don't know about the show, but I don't know how it works when you get signed and like the advances that they give you. I don't know how much of an advance that you get.
You know, Cardi B could legitimately just go all around the country, going to clubs and doing walkthroughs for $5,000 to $10,000 a pop. Like Welvin the Great, which was that, you know, intellectually disabled individual.
Was he the D's nuts?
Yeah. Got him, like doing them little things like that. Him, Lil Terrio, they was doing $5,000 walkthroughs at clubs just because they would bring people to the club that wouldn't normally be there.
But again, so here's my problem with spending money like this. Even with the club appearances. The club appearances, you only gonna get that amount of money for as hot as you are. That shit is gonna run its course at some point. You didn't spend all of this money. What you gonna do when the money when your fame run down? Because it happens. Cardi B is not Beyonce. Offset is not Jay-Z. Like, I just don't see them having longevity like that. Maybe they will, but I'm not gonna operate under the assumption that I am. Like, if you're willing to drop $300,000 on a Rolls Royce for a nigga that you ain't even married to yet, after you done bought him this expensive ass watch, he obviously just spent it throwing his money down the drain as well. Cause this nigga she only bought him one of them watches. The other 2 watches is his. He just decided to wear them so that you know he got all of these watches. That's the only reason that you would wear 3 watches at once. It's for show. Because there's no fucking other reason.
Well, look, if they get married, have they got married yet?
No, they have not.
If they get married, then she'll be all right. Unless they sign prenups, because he got loot. Like, he got money.
If they get married.
The Migos got money.
I don't even know that that's going to happen, to be honest with you. I don't. I'll be surprised if they actually fucking
I hope they get married. I hope they get married, and I don't want to hope that it don't work out, but I don't think it's going to work out, and I think she's going to bust the windows on the Rolls Royce that she bought because she crazy, and she's not going to be able to control that shit. And because he made that bad decision, she gonna take half of his shit. I like Cardi B for some reason. I'm not
a fan.
Let me not say I'm a fan. I ain't no fucking fan. Don't get me wrong. But it's a certain level of people that are intriguing enough for me to watch their interviews and shit like that.
She's so I hate how she talked too. I don't know.
Her tongue too big.
Yeah.
That's the problem. She talk like her tongue is too fucking big because it is too big. And then she got an accent like, why is she Dominican or some shit?
Yeah, I think so.
Like her tongue is too big and she's Dominican. So the way that she's trying to roll her words and shit like that is fucking up.
I just wish that when black folks got money, they would act like they got some sense and not do bullshit like this. That's all.
Like she just a very small portion of black people
With money. That's in the like get other than like
I
I'm
don't
saying
think entertainers count. If you really want to see
That's
how
who
black
I'm
people spend their
counting,
money, you go to the NFL or the NBA.
But that's
like
what- but
it
that's-
ain't nothing but a few Allen Iversons
I
in
know.
in the NBA.
But what I'm saying is, you also don't see. You see Cardi B, Offset. You see the entertainers more, and so kids, people that are watching this, see that more too. I would just like for them to be a little bit smarter with their money than buying niggas Rolls Royces. That's just not that. That's what's hot in these streets. Let me tell you something. I would think twice about buying my husband a Rolls Royce, and I would already be married to that nigga. I'm definitely not finna buy no nigga that I'm just with a Rolls Royce. I don't give a fuck if we are engaged, because guess what? Engagements fail. People break up. Like, I'm not. That's crazy. Why would I do that?
Well, what I would hope is that when I have kids and whatever new age wave of ass rappers is out when I have kids, I'm going to want them to understand that those people are not representations of where you should get your life and financial advice from.
Yeah.
So looking at them doing whatever they do ain't realistic.
It's not what you.
It's a very, very small portion of the people who get that kind of money and can do whatever they want with it. And, you know, the people who are in those environments have come from an idea that rap is about the glamour and the overspending and the jewels and all that. Like a big part of this new generation, I think that is a part of what they believe rap is.
That's why that nigga got on 3 watches.
But that's also why when you talk to Lil Yachty or you talk to Lil Uzi Vert or you talk to any of these new age rappers, they don't understand the foundation of hip hop. So what they've extracted from it is that shit, is the money part, is the fame part, is the, you know, let's just get turned part, which is conflicting with like hip hop heads as it pertains to that shit.
It's so, and I mean,
not saying they can't make good music or catchy shit or shit that you want to listen to.
Catchy is what I would call it, but.
Well,
And I mean,
subjective.
I'm not saying that they're not like Jay-Z. Story of OJ. He did the same shit, like bought shit, but as he got older, he realized that he threw a lot of his money away. Now, with Jay-Z though, Jay-Z has had the longevity where he's been able to like bounce back. You know, he spent stupidly, but he made enough money after spending stupidly where he didn't make big investments where he is going to be making money regardless of whether or not he make any more albums because of where he's invested his money into. He got smarter as he got older. I just wish people would get there a lot faster because entertainment is fleeting. You're not going to have the longevity sometimes to like figure that shit out and not waste all your money before you not hot no more. Like Jay-Z is an anomaly. I don't think everybody gets that kind of longevity where they still going to be popping like that, 30 years later or whatever the fuck.
I ain't never really liked Jay-Z like that, but
even if you don't like
his
him, you
albums, I can still get some messages from him. Opposed to this shit that the Migos got, I can't even understand what they fucking saying. I ain't finna go to goddamn Hip Hop Genius,
Rap Genius
to find out what the fuck they saying. I'm not doing that shit. I just rather not listen to it.
And again, I'm not shitting on Migos. Good for them. Their music wasn't made for me. That's how I look. This is for the younger generation. I can't stand it. I hate it. It annoys me, so I just don't listen to it. They make their money good. Same way with Cardi B. I feel like Cardi B, I don't know that she gonna have longevity with this shit. I don't know how much higher she gonna go than Bodak Yellow. I know she on Motorsport with Nicki and whatever, and people talking about that verse, but I just don't know how much longevity she's gonna have. I just wish the money that they had, they would make better decisions with, like, cause I feel like and maybe because I just grew up in a different era and time, but 25-year-old Red could have become a millionaire. I'm not finna go out buying jewels and shit. I don't even wear jewelry now. Like, that's not something that I would do with my money. I don't think it's something that I would have ever done with my money, like, at all. Like even when I was in my 20s, because Cardi B is like 26. She's not that old. Even at that age, I'm not buying no nigga no Rolls Royce. It's crazy. It's for show. It's just for show. So that they could put up an Instagram video of them sitting in this Rolls Royce that she bought him with these 3 fucking watches on. I don't know why the watch thing bothered me so much, but I was just like, nigga, really?
If you had unlimited funds,
No.
you wouldn't buy a nigga a Honda Civic.
I ain't finna buy the nigga no car. You need to already have a car. I'm not buying you the dude that I'm dating. No.
If you're
Even if we're engaged, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. It ain't about my money. It's about your place in my life.
Well, what I'm saying
I don't care
is,
what I'm capable of doing.
What I'm saying is, so depending on how you feel about that person, you're going to buy them something different day 1 than day 30 if you had unlimited money.
No.
You would.
I would not.
You fucking would.
I would not. A car?
Not a car or a Rolls Royce, but if you would normally buy a dude a video game with unlimited sources, maybe you buy him a game and a system that he don't have.
Yes.
I'm just saying it depends on your financial level.
Even with I could have the highest financial level ever. What I'm saying is it would never be a car. It would never be anything that big. Ever. Ever. It would never be that big. It would be something bigger than what I'm capable of doing now. It wouldn't be car big.
You never buy like your husband a car for a surprise or something that over a car he wanted that you knew he wasn't gonna buy for himself and you had the money to do so. Or let's say it wasn't a car. Let's say it was just like he loved tools and shit and there's a like $3,000 tool set opposed to the $100 ones. You see, like if you had the money, you wouldn't upgrade that thing that person loves because you value them. I'm not saying it has to be a car. I'm saying that there is something that you would upgrade for the people that you love.
I'm not saying
that you wouldn't if you weren't financially capable of doing that.
What I'm saying is it would never be the upgrade to a car. It would never be that amount of money, especially not to somebody that I wasn't married to. Now, my husband, after we've been married for a while and I feel like this is solid and stable, maybe I would buy him a car. But we're not even talking about a husband. We're talking about somebody that I dated for like 6 months and got engaged to. And have not yet married.
But you also have a rational, logical, and adult lens that you're looking through, opposed to the illogical, irrational, childlike view that people like Cardi B and Offset have about relationships. Because when they get married, the same exact shit gonna go on in their relationship. Like they don't. First off, it's not been long enough. It ain't possible that they know enough about each other. With the tours that they going on, it ain't possible that they spent enough time to actually get to know each other.
To get engaged.
Now, not only that, she's called herself a crazy bitch several times.
Yes.
I don't even want to say several. Plenty of times. She's referenced herself as a crazy bitch. Yes. And she's talked about how a relationship, she said it in her damn song. What did she say? What was the line?
I don't know.
I can't remember the fucking line. She implicated that your ass is out. Your ass will be out the door real quick, motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Like in her song. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they're looking at that shit through a lens that you wouldn't possibly look at a lens through. But what you're saying is, you wouldn't upgrade yourself to somebody this high. But if you were illogical, irrational, and childlike, you probably would. But you being logical, rational, and childlike don't mean you wouldn't do it. You just wouldn't do it to that degree. If you had unlimited money, if I had unlimited money, I wouldn't buy cheap ass fucking makeup for somebody just because when I was broke, that's what I would buy.
No, I'm not. But what I'm saying is just because you have unlimited money don't mean you have to spend it stupidly either. Just because you have unlimited money don't mean that you have to go and buy the most expensive thing. Would you get them something nice? Yes. Would it be something nicer than what I would have been able to get them without money? Yes. But I'm not going to have the mindset, well, I got the money. Why not just fucking spend it? I'm not going to do that. Like, that would not be my mindset. And maybe it's because I've been broke for so long that if I got money, I'm going to keep money. Like, I want to keep this lifestyle that I got. And part of keeping this lifestyle that I got for me is not spending my money on bullshit like a Rolls Royce for a nigga I've known for 8 months. I'm not going to. That's crazy. That doesn't make it. Do I have unlimited money and can I do it? Sure. Does it mean that I need to? Does it mean that it's smart to? Nope. And I'm not going to do it. Like, how much money I have don't have shit to do with you and what you get out of me. I'm not gonna buy gifts based on the fact that I can, so I'm gonna. Now, of course, yes, it ain't gonna be cheap, but it ain't gonna be a Rolls Royce.
And I don't even look at gifting in terms of what the person want or what they can get out of me. I gift people what I want them to have. Well, most of the time when I gift. So
I'm not
if I were to, like I'm saying, like I'm not going to go broke to gift somebody something fantastic because it's fucking fantastic and I don't want to give you cheap shit. But at the point that becomes something that I can afford and that money becomes expendable enough.
Can she afford it?
No, I mean, I guess I was going into the greater philosophy because the way that you were making it sound like is that you would never buy a car for a man. That's kind of what I was getting from you. But if the case is that if you were married and it was financially possible and you wanted to do that you would, that represents a different dialogue than what it sounded like you were saying at first.
No, I wasn't saying what I we would have, and that would be like a 10, 15 year marriage gift. Like even like it wouldn't be a year anniversary gift. Rolls Royce, like I'm not even still fucking sure about this shit at a year. Nah. So for me, like the price of the gift and the gloriousness of the gift will get grander as time goes on. But like if I was a Cardi B, if I got money right now based on my ability to make music that people enjoy, I just think that it is very stupid and foolish for her to drop $300. If she did in fact pay cash like she said that she did, it is foolish in the very beginning of your career, literally the beginning of your career, to be buying $300,000 cars for somebody that you've known for that short of amount of time. That's crazy because you're still at the beginning and you don't know what your longevity is going to be like. So it's not guaranteed. You don't have guaranteed money. You're not CEO of a company. You don't have something stable. You have a career that gauges upon whether or not people like you or not and care about your music. And shit happens when people don't give a fuck. Longevity is something that is elusive to a lot of people. At the very beginning of you got one top single because you just started, that is stupid to be spending money like that. She don't have unlimited money. She don't. She's still trying to gauge what her money gonna be. I don't think you can base that off because you know how many people that had one hit wonders like that came out and the record was huge and then they never was able to match that shit again. And went into obscurity. And they still known for that one song, but nothing else. She too early in her career for that shit. You don't know what's going to happen going forward. I mean, you always have your little love and hip hop money, I guess, to fall back on. Mona always let you be on the show. But as far as this music shit is concerned, people have one hit wonders. That shit happens a lot. Where people, you got a catchy little tune. And then people don't really fuck with the shit that come after that. Then what? You didn't drop $300,000 that you can't get back now. Because as soon as that car left that lot, it started depreciating. So even if she took the car back, which would be fucked up.
You're not saying anything unreasonable.
Yeah.
You're just saying it to a puppy with a tinfoil hat on. I just want to let you know.
I know I hate to see it. That's all. I just wish she would have made better decisions with her money. That's my. I would like to see her do better for herself because, I mean, I don't particularly like her. She kind of get on my nerve, but I like to see people win, and she ain't winning right now with this bullshit.
What? She's winning now, generally speaking.
Generally speaking, I'm just saying long term is what matters to me.
I bet the whole black community that look up to Cardi B is looking at her buying her man this Rolls Royce, and they are relationship goals.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's horrible. That is not relationship goals. That don't need to be relationship goals in the black community. We don't need to have bitches out here. Well, obviously, it ain't gonna be a Rolls Royce because broke bitches can't get that. But we don't need bitches out here going buying Jordans when their kids need formula and shit, because that's the type of shit that happens when Cardi B is relationship goals for broke bitches. Broke bitches don't have Rolls Royce money, but they have money to do shit with their money they don't need to do so they can be relationship goals. Because them the kind of stupid ass people that want that to be relationship goals. The people that would spend their kid milk money on the nigga they with. That doesn't need to be relationship goals in the black community. That's my point. I hate it. I don't want to see it.
I don't think that shit been going on for a long time.
I know,
and Cardi B is just the victim of that mentality.
But I want it to stop.
It ain't gonna stop. Okay?
It's awful.
It ain't gonna stop.
God damn it.
And that's just what it is. Cardi B gonna buy Offset stuff. He barely gonna buy her anything or be involved or do any input. And, you know, women gonna look at her, you know, as, you know, relationship goals, wifey goals, and he gonna have a side chick at some point.
If he
And
ain't
she gonna bust
already
the
got
windows
it,
out.
shit. That
Whatever.
nigga is...
Maybe they got an arrangement. Maybe they got an open relationship. Like Will and Jada.
Cardi
Which
B,
they say they don't, but
Cardi,
I think they do.
But Jada also ain't crazy like Cardi. I feel like if Offset was like photographed with another bitch, she right now she break the fuck out of that Rolls Royce before they even got married, knowing she bought the shit. Like, I don't think she the kind of bitch that could be in an open arrangement type situation. I just seem like she too irrational for this. She get mad.
Possibly. Anyway, I had some more stuff to talk about. I was going to talk about Matt Lauer, and he got a secret hidden button that locked doors behind you.
Oh my God.
Behind him. I was going to talk about Black Thought. If you hadn't seen that 5-10 minute freestyle that he got, you need to listen to it. But also the subsequent tweets that Black people thought Black Thought was just like some philosophical
White people thought.
goddamn way of Black people, you know, being racist. But
White people thought that, not Black people. You said Black
I said
people
Black people thought that. White people thought that. Sorry.
Yeah.
The CDC put out a ban on 7 words that they didn't want to be published in any articles. The words are vulnerable, entitlement, diversity, transgender, fetus, evidence-based, or science-based. And we're going to talk about net neutrality and Black women voting. If y'all want to talk about any of that shit, because we don't have a lot of community dialogue, send us something on Twitter, on Instagram, or on Facebook, and look, let's have a conversation. I really want to reach out more than we have been doing, and I'm just trying to find the best way to do it moving forward. But you got anything else
Nope.
on your mind? All right. Well, until we come to the next conversation,
We out.
holla.